Artist and activist Mae Paner reinvents herself once again, this time as a community leader, feeding the poor with nutritious meals. Joining us in the studio is the leading woman of Kawa Pilipinas, Miss Mae Paner. It's a beautiful day. Miss Mae, good morning. Welcome to the show.
It sure is a beautiful day. Thank you for having me. And I'm really excited to talk about Kawa Pilipinas with you because I just checked if you know who we are. And you said, not yet. And that excites me.
I know. People know you as your satirical persona, of course, Wanna Change. Yeah. And you've made a name in film, television, broadcasting, advertising, social activism. And now you're here to talk about Kawa Pilipinas. Can you tell us what inspired you to establish this passion project of yours? And how has it evolved since you started it in 2020?
Well, actually, I just answered to a call. In March of 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, a brother from the Redemptorist Church, Brother June, said, May, we need a cook. And because I have tasted your dinuguan, you know, and I know how you love to cook, can you volunteer? I go, okay, but I have no car and I have no means to go because it was a total lockdown. We'll pick you up and we'll bring you home. That started it. I said yes, and ever since then, I never stopped. 4.8 years later.
Well, that dinuguan must be a winner.
I know. I love the dinuguan.
Nakapakain ako ng iglesia ng dinuguan ko.
Wow, really?
It's that
Sorry, sorry. No. My thing, she's not practicing. So,
Not practicing anymore.
Okay.
It
It makes sense. But you know, I'm just looking at the website, and I love the fact that you actually counted 435,000 meals served as of March 22 in
Yes.
2025. Wow. But the other thing that really stands out to me is that they say it's co-creating lives through food. And that's the first words you see when you open Kawa Pilipinas. What does that mean?
Because if we really want a better world where there's zero hunger, nobody does it alone.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to co-create with people.
Yes.
And when you create something that's not there yet. You know, because it's something that you look towards the north and there's hunger.
Yeah.
And if you co-create and what you see is a world where everyone has access to food, you know, it's something that has not happened yet. So, you know, if you join me, like the three of you, you come and volunteer to Kawa, we can co-create a better future for all through food.
Right.
That is why we say co-creating, because I think, because I'm an artist, I guess, you know, I really like to be creative when I do things. Like even when I was, you know, on stage, you know, attending rallies, I made sure I was bigger than life.
Yeah.
I donned costumes, you know, I put on wigs, because you have to be creative. Kailangan ka mapansin.
Yes.
Hindi ba? Kailangan you come from purpose, you know. Kailangan meron kang sinusolusyonan na problema ng mundo.
Tama.
And for all of this, you have to be creative.
Yeah.
So I love that you said we have to be creative because obviously your dinuguan clearly won that show.
Yeah.
But I want to know what challenges, apart from having to get people to know what Kawa is, did you encounter when starting up Kawa?
Actually, of course, you know, food gets to be very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, remember the time when sibuyas was 1,000 a kilo?
Don't
Yeah.
remind us about the time.
I know.
Onion, sili,
And
labuyo.
you know, our bigas, how much is that a kilo? And because in Kawa, we don't feed like 10 or 20 or 1,000. You know, when we feed in Kawa, we feed like 2,000 for 2,000 or 3,000. And for that, you need money.
Yeah.
Right.
And because you need money, you know, I'm always there on Facebook. You know, if you have extra, if you want to donate, it can be in cash, it can be in kind, you know, and it can be in service too. So please come and volunteer. And so, and people respond. You know, sometimes you just have to give them opportunity to be their better selves, and they will respond. And that is really what excites me. But of course, at the same time, it is a challenge because what if they don't come?
Right.
What if you
Right,
build
right,
it and they don't come, di ba?
Right, right.
Malulungkot si Kevin Costner. You know? But they came. I mean, you know,
Okay.
and I'm just so happy and blessed that people respond to the problem of hunger.
Yeah, I love that. First of all, great reference to Kevin Costner. And second, another thing I love about this is that it's heart-based. Just looking at all of the all of the marketing, all of the positioning of Kawa Pilipinas, it's very heart forward muna. And you even call the people you help beloveds.
Yes.
And that for me is such a big deal because apart from the fact that wala silang pagkain from time to time, if not most of the time, it's also the attention that they do not get as you're doing it. So how big of a factor is it na, as much as we're feeding them physically, it's something a bit more?
Well, because I realized that the heart is more smarter than the brain.
Okay.
If you operate from the brain, para lang yan, when we're discussing and I win an argument, okay, I win that argument for that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
But if I win your heart,
That's forever.
I win you forever.
Yes.
Hindi ba? And that is a winner. And so that's how we operate. And even every time we cook, I always remind the volunteers of why they're there and where we operate from. So it really already sets the mood for the day that when we are in Kawa, we actually operate from our heart, and it is love-based.
Right.
Kasi sabi ko nga, the best way to politicize is to humanize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Di ba? And to do that, you really have to come from your center, from your core, from the very best part of your being, and I think that is your heart.
Miss May, how's it been, in terms of partnerships and collaborations? We were talking about this off the air a while ago. How has the community responded to support Kawa Pilipinas since it started in 2020?
When you're doing something good, it has to be an ecosystem of goodness. And we have to remind people that we are all connected. And you know who, for example, Jollibee Group Foundation was one of the very first who responded to us. And ever since then, they would send us, May, we'd like to give away 20 boxes of congee mix, of chicken guisado, of siomai, of chicken. And then there's a Supreme Court. You know that Supreme Court justices come to Kawa?
Wow.
Utusan ko yan, Justice Alameda! Sabi ko ng ganyan. Justice Marvic, medyo wala tayong pamalengke. Sabi ni Justice Marvic, naku, pag si Mayan tumawag, mahihiya ka namang tumanggi. So si Justice Marvic, he gives. He comes to the kitchen, he cooks.
Okay.
And then the De La Salle community of College of St. Benilde. Nung natapos yung list namin sa isang bahay ng mga madre, they opened their doors to us. Kaya ako, sobrang pasalamat ko sa La Salle, sa College of St. Benilde, kasi grabe. Alam nyo, to give us a home, 600 square meters, sabi ko nga, binigyan nyo ba ako ng bahay, binigyan nyo ako ng problema. Ang laki! Imagine mo yung staff noon, yung kuryente, yung tubig. Buti naman, nag-message na naman ako sa Maynilad. Humingi ako ng tubig. Sabi niya, May, huwag kang mag-alala. Tuwing may feeding, ngayon may tubig ka na.
Wow!
That's why yung that ecosystem na tumutugon sila, like the Center for Social Action, yung mga urban poor community nagpupunta sa amin. Pag pumunta sila sa Kawa, tutulong sila mag-volunteer. Pag uwi nila, may pagkain na yung pamilya nila, may pagkain pa yung community nila.
Wow.
And then the students, when they come, sabi niya, alam mo, Miss May, nagpunta lang ako dito nung una para mag-enjoy Hindi ko alam that I will look forward to every Saturday of my life to be in Kawa.
Right. It's very fulfilling.
Di ba kayo nahihipuan?
Opo.
Yes.
Are you not touched with the stories? Di ba?
Very
Kasi
much.
sabi ko talaga parang amazing, no? You just start something and then all of a sudden I realize na ano pala to, para siyang yung dugtong-dugtong, the connectedness of all of this through food that's clean, that's nutritious, and delicious, no? Hindi ko lang magawa yung marami. Kasi syempre, pag kumakain, bibigyan pa lang ako 1 cup of rice. And how I wish, kaya ko nang maging 1.5 yun. At saka ngayon, madalas chicken kasi yun ang mura. Ang dream ko, makapaglagay ako sa food pack ng baka, na maraming gulay. Alam mo yung, sana one day, ang laman ng food pack namin, kare-kare.
Yeah.
Like ba?
Wow, grabe.
Mga ganyang levels, di ba? But, I know we will get there. And
Yes.
hopefully through the Billionario News Channel, ang mga bilyonaryo ng mundo. Because, I'm really looking for philanthropists.
Yes.
Actually, first akong dinefine as philanthropist, nagulat ako. Kasi akala ko ang philanthropist pang mayaman, pang bilyonaryo lang. Hindi pala. So when you're doing good and you're consistently doing it, you are a philanthropist.
Okay.
So it's like, ay, philanthropist ako.
Right.
So on my epitaph, I want when I die, Mae Paner, artist, activist, philanthropist.
Ang ganda nun. Ang ganda nun.
Ang ganda nun, di ba? And maybe here's a Billionaire News Channel sa mga nanonood ng mga bilyonaryo dyan.
Dagdag natin ang philanthropist at the end of the...
Yes.
No, I definitely
May-
love what you're
Okay.
doing, Miss May. And food is such a universal love language.
It is my love language. Yeah, it is.
But I want to know, what have you learned about yourself throughout this whole process ever since starting Kawa?
Well, actually, nakakatuwa. Kasi noon, gusto kong mag-unite ng mga tao.
Yeah.
Hindi tayo magkasundo kasi hindi tayo nag-unite. Hindi tayo malabanan ng mga kaaway kasi kanya-kanya tayo. Ang hirap pala talaga noon.
Yes.
I think ang minimum lang na gusto kong mangyari to coexist.
Okay.
Kasi, halimbawa, ikaw, iba ang opinion mo, iba ang opinion ko, di ba? Iba ang gusto mong iboto, iba. At kadalasan ng panggagalingan ng away. Kasi i-insist ko, ikaw talagang tanga-tanga mo sa mga pinipili mo. Bobo ka kasi. Ano ba yung mga ganyan? Samantalang in real, sino nga ang gusto mo at bakit? Okay. Ako naman ito ang gusto ko at bakit?
Apa.
Kaya mo ba akong respetuhin kahit na iba ang gusto mo? Iba sa gusto ko. Pagka ganun kasi, meron akong entrance sa punta sa'yo. Hindi ako nagsasara. Hindi ba? Nagbe-bridge ako. Kasi dati akong laging tama at saka ako lagi akong galit. Di ba, I'm a cut above the best. And then you realize, hindi naman pala kailangan ganun. Hindi ba, hindi kailangan pag manalo ko, kailangan talo ka.
Tama.
Di ba, pwede mang manalo ako ngayon, manalo ka bukas. Parang we just take turns.
Yeah.
Right.
But you find reason to coexist with everyone.
I love that, and I also love the fact that I want to go back to a term that you used a while ago po, yung ecosystem of goodness.
Yes.
Because one of the key parts of yung Kawa is yung volunteerism. Na-mention
Yes.
nyo nga like they started out going
Yes.
there na, baka masaya to. But then it becomes life-changing in
Yes.
so many ways.
Yes.
For those volunteers who come in, what changes do you normally see in the volunteers mismo after their first few days, first few hours working with Kawa, and eventually as things go by? Because if you go on your social media pages, nandiyan yung mga kwento ng mga volunteers, and it's so varied. How has that affected you personally? Of course, how have you seen volunteers affected by the work?
Amazing. Like, say for example, we have a volunteer, his name is 30. And si 30, when he started, nandun lang yung sa labas ng Kawa ni ayaw mag-volunteer, mukhang masungit na nakaganon. And he was, I think, 12 then.
Yeah.
Alam mo ngayon, siyang nagmamana ng social media namin.
Wow.
Pagkatapos, sabi niya nung, oy, anak, kasi they call me Mommy May. Sabi ko, anak, ano mo sa Kawa? Anong masasabi mo na matagal ka na dito sa Kawa at part ka na ng core? Hindi kasi, Mommy, na-realize ko na ang kurso gusto kong kunin pagka-graduate ko, parang may kinalaman na rin sa food. Kasi, Mommy, eventually, gusto ko yung trabaho ko, yung I will respond to the problem of hunger, not only in the Philippines, but in the world.
Wow.
Diyos ko naman, di ba, para namang maiyak-iyak naman ng Mommy May na, di ba? Tapos yung isa, ang course niya ngayon ay culinary na.
Okay.
They're so affected by it because,
right.
they cook. Yung isang bata, for example, tuturuan ka magsaing ka, magagawa niya. Nag-absent yung chef namin. Anak, Riley, ikaw ang in charge ngayon, pasta alakawa tayo. Ako, Mami? Oo, ikaw. Sabi kong ganyan. Alam mo, yung takot niya na yun, talagang nilabanan niya kasi talagang nakaganon ako. Ang dami kong ginagawa. Ayusin mo yan. Magluluto pa ako ng pagkain ng volunteers. Nakikita mo si chef paano ginagawa. Kaya mo yan, anak.
Okay.
Ang dami mong alalay. When he made his first 1,600 meals
Wow.
when he was 15, bilib na bilib siya sa sarili niya.
Wow.
Imaginein mo, so nung gumagawa kami ng videos about our narratives, Riley was saying, nung una tatakot ako, nung inutusan ako ni Mommy, pero nung umuo ako, nakagawa ako ng 1,600 meals in one day, bumilib ako sa sarili ko. And now, he's studying culinary at the Lyceum.
Wow.
That's incredible. Always say yes to Mommy May.
Yeah.
Yan yung
That's your future.
titikomay ko. Oo.
So you're changing the lives of your volunteers, and of course, you're changing the lives of the people that you feed as well, one meal at a time, right?
Yeah.
So how do you select yung communities that you reach out to?
Actually, somehow the universe has, ways of bringing them to us. Kasi like, for example, we're inside the College of St. Benil. No? They're helping us. Meron silang CSA, Center for Social Action.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are part of communities. And so what they do is they give us communities. That's why, like Pastor Cesar, who's from the Tondo community, helps us.
Okay.
And every time he comes, he will bring people from Tondo to help us. And so they are in our kitchen. Yung mga iba't ibang mga jails, from Bucor, from BJMP, ay kung hindi kayo pwede kuha ng pagkain, ha? Kaya kailangan matutulong kayo
help.
magpack.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
come.
Okay.
And then they bring home 150, 200. They, iniikutan namin iba't ibang jails, including the Correctional Institute for Women and the New Bilibid Prison.
Okay.
So, yun. That's how they come to us. And then, may isang warden, Ma'am, nalipat na ako sa Parañaque. Pwede bang isali mo na ang Parañaque? Okay, fine. Ilan ba kayo? O ma'am, pwede mo bang dagdagan ng 150? Sige, dagdagan natin. So, ganun kami lumalaki.
Okay.
Yeah.
Opportunity just comes.
Opportunity just comes,
Now I'm gonna start calling you Mommy May. I hope that's okay.
Sure.
My future is bright sitting next to you. So Mommy May, what's next for Kawa? Are there any initiatives or campaign that you're excited about?
Well, I'm really, because just the other day, last Sunday, we had the blessing and inauguration of our new home. And what's most exciting for me is remember this ecosystem for good. Nung una, hindi ko pa alam yan. Ginamit ko yung term niya kasi narinig ko lang yan sa iba. Okay?
I like
there's
it though.
Yeah, because there's this woman who said, she called me a philanthropist, Dr. Glenda Gloria. She studied philanthropy in the US. Meron palang ganon. Ngayon sabi niya, May, you're doing so much good in the world. I think, and there's so much money from millionaires, billionaires around the world
Yes.
who want to give their money to deserving institutions. And I think Kawa Pilipinas deserves to be part of this ecosystem of good. And they're the Spring Rain Global Foundation. So they're the ones who will help us look for money so that we can have better infra, we have programs for the volunteers where we can get scholarships. Eventually, hindi naman siguro masama kung magkaroon ng Kawa Cafe
Yeah.
where the rich will pay
Right,
extra
yes.
so that the poor can eat for free.
Yes.
Di ba? We can
amazing.
sell products. And so may R&D yan. And then we also need data management. So ang Spring Rain Global, sabi nila, May, there's a bigger dreaming of you. And then she made me answer na, why? The why beneath the why. Kasi sabi niya, May, what are you doing? Nagpapakain po ako nagugutom. Bakit ka nagpapakain na nagugutom? Eh kasi wala silang access, wala silang trabaho. Bakit wala silang trabaho? Kasi siguro yung sistema natin, ang gobyerno, bakit ganun? Bakit may problema sa sistema? Bakit ganyan? Wow, ang dami namang question. That is what we want to do. We don't just want to feed them.
Right.
We want them to be able to stand on their own to feed themselves. Kasi di ba, you teach man, give man a meal, just
Yeah.
for that moment.
Yeah, teach them how to
Teach them how
fish.
to
Yeah.
fish, you teach them for a lifetime.
Right.
Mami May, I before we wrap things up, I just want to know, when you started Kawa, how big was the dream and how big is the dream now, considering that yung ecosystem of good mo has come together in this way? Because I don't think nung simula ka, you would have imagined it would have grown to what we have, what you have so far, and what you're dreaming of in the future.
Thank you for that wonderful question. Ano lang ako noon yung in my kitchen, happy na ako magpakain.
Yeah.
Kasi sabi ko, I cannot solve all the problems of the world. I mean, I'm happy to feed. For example, if I feed 100 today or 200, okay na ako doon.
Right.
Ang sinasabi niya, May, because you are who you are, and nandiyan ka na, at mukha namang you're very passionate about it, you can amplify the work you do. And sabi niya, why don't you just scale it up? Because when you scale it up, and then your impact will even be bigger. And especially kung hindi ka rin laging hihingi, di ba? Maging sarili kang entrepreneur kung saan alam mo kung paano mong paiikutin para hindi ka laging umaasa. Habi ko, wow, 61 na ako, no? Pero parang na-excite ako at the thought na even at this age, kaya ko pang gumawa ng impact, kaya ko pang makatulong. So I can dream bigger. And that is what the Spring Rain Global has given us.
Mommy May, you know, we wish we had more time to talk about Kawa Pilipinas.
I can be back.
Yes, definitely.
We would love you to be back.
Yes. But I'm sure our viewers are inspired now to volunteer, to help. How can they get in touch with you?
Okay, we have a website. It's the ano nga yung website? www.kawapilipinas.com, di ba? So you can check our website. We also have a Facebook page, and so please get in touch. You can give your time, your talent, your treasure. In fact, yung bahay namin, I'm 3.3 million away to pay my utang. So if you can help, we'd really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mae Paner, ladies and gentlemen, the founder and chair of Kawa Pilipinas.
But of course, we have to say it, actor, activist,
Activist,
philanthropist!
Thank you.